Daf Yomi, Tractate Bava Metzia, page 72. Ayin Beis, Amud Aleph, with the words Islay Zechia Midrabanan. Nevertheless, he has the power by rabbinic law to acquire an item by means of an act of acquisition performed by another. Okay, we were in the middle of the story, so let's get some background just to kind of refresh our memory. Let's see here. We're in the bottom of 71a. Ravina says, another answer. Granted, okay, that. Okay, and just disclaimer, I'm just reading the Talmud, doesn't necessarily reflect my own opinion. I'm reading the words of the Talmud. That's just the project that I'm doing here. We're talking about different things that were permitted when it comes to a Gentile or a Jew. Like they're saying that a Jew could lend to a Gentile in these times, with interest, and a Gentile could actually lend to a Jew with interest. These are the types of things that were being discussed. So, and then we talked about, so the key is, what they were saying is that a Jew can't lend to another Jew with interest. But actually a Gentile could lend to a Jew. A Jew could actually take out a loan from a non-Jew and pay them interest. And so Ravina says another answer. So we're talking about the idea of agency. Granted, a Gentile is not included in the category of agency, but he has the power by rabbinic law to acquire an item through an act of acquisition performed by another. This is similar to the halacha concerning a Jewish minor. As with a minor, it is not the case that even though he is not included in the category of agency, and now we're on 72. Nevertheless, he has the power by rabbinic law to acquire an item by means of an act of acquisition performed by another. Here, also, it is not different. A Jew can perform an act of acquisition on behalf of the Gentile, even though there is no agency for the Gentile. So, according to what they're saying here, that Gentiles didn't have the power to acquire something, according to Jewish law, in the Jewish court at this time. But they could. So if you take these things as literal as being meant for today, it can cause a lot of anti-Semitism. You could see there's like elitism. Gentiles could see that Jews are feeling that they're better than Gentiles. This is probably where some people they cherry pick, and they would pick these things saying, look, the Jews are elitists, they're elitist, globalists trying to control the world, and evil Jews think they're better than the Gentiles. And the truth is that today it's much different than it was then. So my project is to read what it says in Talmud, but not exactly to necessarily agree with everything in it. There are verses in the Bible that say that God is not a respecter of persons. That like God has a plan for everybody. He doesn't love Jews more than non-Jews, or non-Jews more than Jews. It's all part of God's plan. Anyway, the Gemara rejects this comparison, but that is not so. A minor Jew will eventually reach the age of eligibility for agency, but a Gentile will not reach eligibility for agency. Again, I'm just reading the words here. Consequently, the sages did not establish the power for Gentiles to acquire an item by means of an acquisition performed by a Jew. Okay, so then you'll ask me, why am I reading this? Why am I reading material that is not in agreement with what? Okay, the answer is that this material that I'm reading is the authoritative text for Orthodox Judaism today. And if I am going to connect with the Orthodox Jewish world, I need to read a text that is authoritative until a point in time when the Messiah comes and everything is sorted out, and perhaps the collective of Israel will graduate from Talmud. Who knows? Maybe it'll be a new authoritative text for Orthodox Jewish, or things will change. But that's why I'm reading this for now. Okay, Tana Rabbanan, we learned in the Brisa, the sages taught, in the case of a Jew who borrowed money with interest from a Gentile, and the Gentile lender established the interest as a loan for the Jewish borrower. In other words, he added the amount of interest to the principal and consolidated it into a single debt. He added the amount of interest to the principal, and isn't that always what the thing is? Anyway, and then the Gentile converted. The halacha depends on the circumstances. I guess what they used to do is they used to do a loan, and this interest was separate. You pay back your loan, and now you pay me for the fact that you were able to get that money for free for a while. And this is a separate charge. The halacha, okay, so basically what it's saying is if they consolidated it. That's how I understand it. Halacha depends on the circumstances. If the Gentile established it as a loan for him before he converted, he may collect the principal from the borrower, and he may also collect the interest. Since it had already been consolidated into a single debt, it is as though he already collected the interest while he was still a Gentile. But if he established it as a loan for him after he converted, he may collect the principal but not collect the interest, as it is still the status of interest when he became a Jew. And similarly, in the case of a Gentile who borrowed money with interest from a Jew, and the Jewish lender established the interest as a loan for the Gentile borrower, and then the Gentile borrower converted, if he established it as a loan before he converted, the Jew may collect the principal and may also collect the interest. If he established it as a loan for the Gentile after he converted, he may collect the principal but may not collect the interest, as it still has the status of interest when he became a Jew. The Brisa continues, Rabbi Yossi says, if a Gentile borrowed money with interest from a Jew and converted, whether in this circumstance or whether in that, regardless of when the lender consolidated the interest and principal into a single debt, the Jewish lender may collect the principal and he may also collect the interest. Rava says that Rav Chisda says that Rav Huna says the halacha is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yossi. Rava says, what is the reasoning behind the opinion of Rabbi Yossi? What is the justification for collecting interest from a Jew? It is in order that people will not say this individual converted due to concern for his money. People will suspect that he converted in order to avoid paying the interest. The sages taught, in the case of a promissory note in which the details of a loan with interest are written, we penalize the lender, and therefore he may not collect the principal and may not collect the interest. This is the statement of Rabbi Meir. And the rabbis say he may collect the principal, but he may not collect the interest. The Gemara asks, with regard to what principle do they disagree? The Gemara explains that Rabbi Meir holds we penalize him with regard to that which is permitted due to that which is prohibited. And the rabbis hold we do not penalize him with regard to that which is permitted due to that which is prohibited. We learn in a Mishnah elsewhere, in Shavi'it 10.5, and antedated promissory notes in which the date written in the document is earlier than the date the loan was transacted are not valid, but post-dated promissory notes are valid. The Gemara asks, why are antedated documents not valid? Granted, they cannot be used to collect from the first date, but the date written in them, but this could cause loss to people who purchase land from the borrower in the time between the date written on the promissory note and the time the loan was actually granted. The land they purchased would be subject to a lien when in fact it should not be, but at least they should be able to be used to collect from the second date when the loan was actually granted. Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish says, this Mishnah is subject to dispute, and it is taught in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Meir, who said that the lender is penalized with regard to that which is permitted due to that which is prohibited. Here too, since he wrote an incorrect date, the entire document is invalidated as a penalty. And Rabbi Yochanan says, you may even say that this halacha is in accordance with the opinion of the rabbis, as here there is a rabbinic decree invalidating the document lest he collect from the first date. If the document is not invalidated, the lender will depend on it and will come to collect repayment according to the date written on it. The Gemara relates, there was a certain man who mortgaged his orchard in to another as security for a loan, and the lender consumed the produce of the orchard for 3 years. At the end of this time, the lender said to the borrower, if you sell me the orchard, it is good. But if not, I will hide the document of the mortgage, and I will say it is purchased. And that is why it is in my possession, meaning I will claim I purchased the field and lost the deed. Since the land has been in my possession for 3 years, I do not have to bring any other proof, as the halacha is after 3 years of use of a field, there is a presumption of ownership for the one who uses it. See Bava 29b. When the borrower saw that he could not protect himself against the ruse, he devised a scheme. He went and transferred ownership of the field to his minor son by means of a deed of gift, and afterwards sold the field to the lender. Subsequently, he demanded that the sale be annulled, since when he sold the field it was not his. The Gemara clarifies the halacha. The sale was certainly not a sale, since the field was not his to sell. But this question is, are the dinars that the buyer paid similar to a loan? I don't understand it. Why would he ever sell it? Who mortgaged his orchard to another? Oh, okay. He transferred to his son, his minor son. Okay. The Gemara clarifies the halacha. The sale was certainly not a sale, since the field was not his to sell. But the question is, are the dinars that the buyer paid similar to a loan with a promissory note, and therefore the buyer can collect the money he paid, even from lien property that has been sold? Or perhaps it is similar to a loan by oral agreement, and therefore he cannot collect it from lien property that has been sold. Abaye said, is this question not the same question as that of Rabbi Asi? As Rabbi Asi says,